Ladies and gentlemen, it is May something. Is it the
20th?
The 20th? Sorry,
20th
man.
of May.
When you take vacation, which we talked about earlier, you kind of just forget what day it is, man.
Yeah, that can happen for totes.
For totes my goats,
Yeah.
man. Well, Jesse, this is our 7th podcast, man. Sorry, everyone, for the left-right. If you're listening with headphones, we're fixing that this episode.
Yeah, we got those kinks worked out.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I wanted to talk to Jesse today about ancient civilizations, and we've had a few conversations about this. I'm not entirely too sure how you feel about it or where you land on it, and how. I mean, I'm curious. The first question I want to ask you is BC AD. What does that mean to you?
Let's see. A lot of people think that it was before Christ and after Christ, but it's really what is it like? It's some form of Latin, but it does have something to do with Jesus's birth as far as when history started being recorded.
So it's not before Christ and after death, or is that what it meant?
Yeah, 'cause it's BC and then AD. It's actually Odd Deca, I think, is the actual word.
Odd Deca, and then
Yeah.
what's BC?
I can't remember.
It's not before Christ, though.
Well, yeah, it can't be before Christ because Christ lived for 33 years, technically. So
Right.
there'd be...
So I think people are really it's a misconcept whenever people think about that kind of stuff.
I do want to say that it does have something to do with the Christian religion, and...
If that tells you anything, then it's bullshit.
I thought it did. Well, like, then...
It does. I mean, it says before Christ here on Google, good old Google. Man, Google's bought and paid for now, though. I mean, they filter searches and all that stuff. So I mean,
Or Anno Dominion.
Anno Dominion. I mean,
Or Domini. Anno Domini.
Okay, if you guys can look it up yourself, but it says the terms Anno Dominion AD and before Christ BC are used to label or number years in the Julian and Gregorian calendars.
Mm-hmm. So my understanding is, what was it, Julius Caesar or whatever at the time was having a lot of problems with like Christians and the pagan religion. So he did a lot of things to appease the Christians.
Well, Julius
Just
Caesar,
to, like,
was he
out.
Greek or?
Yeah, I want to say, well, man, I wish I was studied up on this. I'm not 100%. I'm not 100% sure.
Right. I mean,
he was like Roman.
Roman.
Say.
Okay.
So he was the Roman leader.
Yeah. Well, if we go back to the furthest that we possibly can, it's the Mesopotamia, right?
Yeah, the oldest known civilization, to my understanding, is Mesopotamia.
Yeah, and I was watching this video the other night. It just came out recently, and so how they dated the Sphinx, right? The Sphinx in Egypt. How they dated it was there's a lot of erosion on it, right? Mm-hmm. Now, Egyptologists originally thought, and they're all over the world, whether they're from America or from the Middle East or Europe or Asia or wherever, but they originally thought that a lot of it was wind erosion. And if you go to Arches National Park, like we went to, that is wind erosion.
Yeah.
You can clearly define and see what is wind erosion, what is water erosion. So the Sphinx, there's this Egyptologist that lives here in the States, and the first time he went was like in the early 1990s. And when the second time he went, or it was either the first or the second, but he had noticed, he looked at the Sphinx and he's like, that's not wind erosion, that's water erosion. So at some point in time, the Sphinx was underwater, or it was being rained upon in large amounts for a long period of time.
Well, you think you'd be able to tell the difference between rain erosion and like a river erosion, because it'd be flowing in the same direction as opposed to where rain's just coming down, you would think.
Yeah.
You'd be able to tell the difference. But anyway.
Well, continue. I mean, and they may have went into it like that, but not as, I mean, I think what they were describing was it was rain erosion.
Okay.
As what they were saying. But here's the kicker. The last time that there was water, and when the environment in Egypt was like here in Missouri or whatever, it was 5,000 years ago or even longer. you know,
Mm-hmm.
and for the amount of time it would take to accumulate that erosion on the Sphinx would be even longer. So I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, okay, well, the Sphinx is older than it is, because this Egyptologist, he's trying to say that the Sphinx is, 10 to 15,000 years old. Well, the oldest civilization is what, 8 to 10,000 years ago.
You know what? I've heard this before.
Yeah.
I've heard that the Sphinx actually predates even the Great Pyramids
Yeah.
and all that.
Well, and what like confuses me is that they said that maybe the rock formation was already there, and that's how the erosion was there, and they built the Sphinx on top of that rock.
That could be it. So they used already eroded rock basically to form it,
Right.
which could be throwing them off. But you would think with the amount of detail that the Egyptians went into stuff like that they wouldn't
Exactly.
that wouldn't be the case.
Precisely. But like mainstream science, they're not gonna go for that. But at the same time, a lot of the shit they say isn't believable. That's where it just pisses me off.
So what's your opinion on it? You think that it even predates ancient Sumeria,
Yeah.
the Sphinx?
Yeah, for sure.
I've heard that the Sphinx's face actually wasn't human, and
It was a
an
lion.
emperor. Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's what it was. It was
Yeah.
a lion, and then one of the emperors or kings of Egypt, whatever, redid it into his face. Is what he did on it. So that wasn't even originally how it looked. That's
Yeah.
also another thing that I've heard too. But
So I mean, if that's the case, and it's even older, right? Obviously, it's just speculation at that point. Because what we learned in the books, whenever you're in grade school or fifth grade or whatever time you learn about Egypt and the pyramids and stuff like that, they tell you how old it is, and if this water theory were to be true, then that rewrites all of history. And no matter what, for some reason, mainstream science isn't willing to rewrite history, no matter what the circumstance is.
I don't think they like to say that they're not 100% correct on it. So they put it as fact, even though chances are, because there's so much mystery, like with the pyramids and everything about that whole
So then why
culture.
put it in a book and say it's fact? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I guess what's the point of teaching something if they're like, hey, this isn't, we could be wrong on this. They want to make it, they want to, have it evident up until, it gets disproven, and then more
they
information
should.
comes.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to reprint a lot of books at that point in the United States, but
They
it
gotta
is what
reprint science and history books all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So why don't and that's the thing. He said he got a lot of backlash whenever he put this theory out. So what he did was he flew back to the States after he got this information, and he went to Boston University, and he looked for a whole bunch of different professors that were into Egyptology and stuff like that. And he was looking for someone to look at it, and they're like, no, I don't want to touch it. I don't want to touch it. Eventually, he finds this guy in Boston College, and what he does is he takes a picture of the Sphinx. He puts a piece of paper over the Sphinx's head, and he's like, hey, I'm going to show you this picture, and I want you to tell me, is this wind erosion or water erosion? And the guy's like, all right. And he looks at it, and he says, there's no doubt in my mind that is water erosion. And there are other scholars or Egyptologists that say it's wind. You know what I'm saying? But you have these professors that are really smart, and they know what water erosion is. I mean, fuck, dude, if we studied water erosion we just looked at pictures on top of pictures on top of pictures on top of, you're going to be like, okay, that's water erosion. And then he pulled off, and he showed that it was the Sphinx, and the guy's like, fuck. And then he instantly went to Egypt, and he's just been going there ever since.
Huh. So do you think it was completely underwater at some point, or you said it was strictly rain?
They said it had gotten poured upon. It had to have been hard rain for a long period of time for what had happened. Now they think that there's a sea next to Egypt or something like that.
Yeah, they have the Dead Sea.
The Dead Sea. Yeah, they think that it extended closer to the Great Pyramids and the Sphinx, and that over time, this is just a theory once again, that over time the land, it got so dry because it's desert now, that the water receded, and now that's where it's at now. And they're thinking that maybe the water plus rain, it's probably a little bit of both, to be honest, not just rain, but
yeah. But the whole point is that he's able to prove that the Sphinx is actually much older than what mainstream archaeology and historians are talking about.
Exactly.
No, that's very interesting.
And to me, it's like, what's the point? Why do you even want to fight that? Because if you believe in evolution, which they teach in high school as well, that doesn't change anything in evolution. So, I mean, you're not fighting that battle if that's what they're worried about.
That's true. Yeah, no, that's. I mean, do you think it's like some big cover up that that it represents something a whole lot more that they're trying to keep secret as far as like ancient civilizations?
I mean, what would be the point?
So-
There's no way of proving anything.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Like who the fuck spends so much time just building a giant lion, out somewhere? Because you can't go into the Sphinx. I'm pretty sure it's literally just it's just like a statue basically.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is the purpose of that?
there may be an access somewhere in there. I'm not entirely sure.
I don't think you can go inside of it. I might be wrong, but it wasn't like a
temple,
like a tomb or
sarcophagus holder, like
Yeah.
the Great Pyramids.
yeah, like even though there were no
Yeah.
sarcophagus in there. Yeah,
Right.
no, that was very confusing.
Well, and here's another thing. And granted, this isn't. I mean, there's really not a lot. It's all speculation when it comes to what would have been the case if the Sphinx is actually older than what it really is. What can we really speculate? If it was older than what they say, and civilization goes back even further than what they tell us, then civilization just went back further than what they told us.
But it's important because in order to start putting the puzzle piece together of literally everything, like from a massive scale to like the universe to a molecular scale to like the history of man in between, you need to eventually start establishing some truths about it. That way you can start placing it, to figure it all out, because that's initially what we want to do as human beings. We want to know where we came from. We want to know,
So it'd be a step closer. It'd be a step closer.
And that's the whole point. Like even with something, and it might be fairly minute, when the Sphinx actually was built and all that. But
Well, no, I mean, because the way his face is looking west, I'm pretty sure. And when the pyramids were built and the way it aligns with the stars and stuff like that, that's what they're saying that it actually means. That's why it's even older than what they think it is, because the way his face is, it's in like the Leo of time,
Oh, well, that
The
would
time
make
of
sense
Leo.
with the lion.
Yeah.
I've also heard when it comes to the pyramids and actually looking at the landscape of where the Sphinx is at, that you shouldn't ever be looking at the Sphinx head on, because the Egyptians did all their writing from the side. You know how everything is just like one dimensional. It's not like 3D. They never did 3D pictures. Everything as far as like their hieroglyphs and everything.
Yeah.
So they said that's how they would have built their structures to be viewed too, is just like their hieroglyphs. So you should be looking at the Sphinx as though it's on a hieroglyph and on its side in comparison to where the pyramids are and everything like that. But obviously they would line it up with constellations too directly and stuff like that. But
I mean, if it wasn't the Egyptians who built it, then who truly knows what it was supposed to look like or how you're supposed to view it?
I mean, how do you not know that that's where the Egyptians came from, and that's where the Egyptians got their religion and their culture
So
from?
I just want to.
What if the Egyptians were just
What do you think of the book
ancestors
of? What do you think of the Book of Enoch?
the Book of Enoch? I wouldn't know. That's Old Testament.
Yeah.
I'd have to. It's been a while.
So you have Enlil and Enoch, right? And here's the theory, and this is just a theory, is that, I mean, this was way before Mesopotamia or whatever. This is just a short version, or just how I perceive it and how I've read it. I didn't even read it, just what I've read a little bit of it. But basically, Enoch and Enlil, they came from another galaxy. They landed on Earth. This involves planet Nibiru, Planet X, which scientists came out and said that there's a ninth planet out there revolving around, just
It said
blah,
Enoch.
blah, blah.
Enoch wasn't of this world.
Right.
He's like a prophet sent from God. I
Yeah,
didn't
but
know
there's
that.
Enlil and Enoch.
Okay.
Enoch, like I said, I need to brush up on it a little bit, but it was one of the two. They came here for gold because their planet.
This is biblical.
No, I mean,
Okay.
well, they say that the Book of Enoch is before the Bible, but there's a lot of people who don't agree with that. A lot of Christians who don't agree with it. So I mean, there's really not a lot of validation to it, but it is there. There is a book, and it is called the Book of Enoch.
Okay, I'm
And
pretty sure that is in the Bible.
Well, Enoch is the only one who has allegedly met God, who has seen God and who God is. He was flown up to heaven and saw him and talked to him, from what I remember. But Enlil and Enoch, they came here, and the religious version has nothing to do with how the human race started here on Earth. There's a lot of places in South Africa that have gold mines. If you take a helicopter ride over South Africa, these certain points, there's just these bricks that are built in it, and it's like they lead to just miles and miles dug deep into the earth where there's gold.
Yeah.
So what they believe is that a advanced civilization came from another planet, landed here, and then there were two brothers, Enoch and Enil, like I was telling you, and they were digging for gold to save their planet because studies show that if you inject gold into your atmosphere, it can stop global warming, like with what we're dealing with allegedly. It's supposed to, like, it can save your ozone layer or your atmosphere.
Okay.
And so what they said is eventually it got very laboring. They didn't want to keep digging for gold, so they said, what do? We need to do something. So they created a human civilization. They created humans. Maybe they took a monkey, like evolution says. They took a monkey and then they altered the DNA and created man.
Mm-hmm.
And actually the Garden of Eden comes from this as well, depicted in the Bible. That's a whole different story, but one of the two brothers likes humans, the other one doesn't. So that's where the Great Flood comes into play as well. But anyways, they make man out of the monkey because they alter the DNA, and then they have their slaves to dig all this gold out for them and just mine all this massive amounts of gold that they can take to their planet and save it. And allegedly, Planet X, it comes in our orbit every 3,600 years, allegedly. And then it creates havoc, and that's where they think the Great Flood came from. Zechariah Sitchin, he reads all the clay tablets, and perceives it how he wants. But that's it. That's the Book of Enoch in a nutshell. And then one of them doesn't like us, and then he bounces, and the Great Flood happens and kills all of humanity.
But not the biblical, not the traditional
Book of Enoch.
Christian Bible Book of Enoch. Though.
They don't believe in the Book of Enoch. I'm pretty sure they don't.
So that's like heresy to them. The Book of Enoch.
Yeah,
it's
but
not actually in the Bible.
Right.
Why does it sound so familiar to me? I feel like that is a thing. I don't know. I'm about to.
Yeah, just look it up, man, and.
I'm about to. This is my one thing with that theory. If any kind of ancient civilization that can travel that distance has to be so technologically advanced that
to build pyramids, to build a great sphinx, build Mayan pyramids.
No, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Create a massive civilization, change the DNA of the primitive monkey on Earth to where they can mine gold for them and then just bounce when they want.
Yeah, to be able to that kind of have like that eugenics and everything. Like I believe that a culture can get that scientifically advanced. But if they are that scientifically advanced, why wouldn't they be able to find a way to save their own atmosphere or even like create gold on a molecular level and without having to travel?
Maybe they're not there yet. Maybe they've done all these great feats, and it's speculation.
But they just can't render gold somehow and create gold for themselves. And
eventually they
absolutely needed this one particular material.
And they travel to Earth, and then they fucking mine that shit, dude.
I mean, yeah, that's my only problem with the theory. Is because I think that if you're that technologically advanced, you'd be able to either find a different way to save your planet or, render the gold yourself through some kind of...
Well, I mean, there's always something, right? There's always fucking something. No matter what you do, right? If you're at work and you think it's a perfect day, something happens. Something fucking happens. Could be the same situation on their planet. Something just happened. They had to fucking go to Earth and get some gold.
It's a possibility. Yeah, this definitely isn't a part of the Bible.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm getting some weird stuff here. I don't want to have a whole lot of dead air while I read this.
Does that not seem more plausible than the Bible, though, and just God's creation? I mean, I think that sounds more plausible than just like a monkey over millions and millions of years just turning into man.
No, because we can't explain that. We can't explain that. That's why we've been looking for the missing link. That's why all of a sudden our brains like quadrupled in size, and next thing you know, we're able to, articulate words and, have houses and have laws and, we're making music and artistic and all that. I like the ancient alien theory, and that's basically what you're getting at. You're talking about an ancient alien theory. About aliens coming in and somehow influencing genetics of...
I think that's a possibility. That's not what that's not what I believe in, though.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You're talking about an ancient alien theory, which I'm on board with. I like the ancient alien theory, and I like the stoned ape theory. Those are the two I think that are probably the most plausible.
Okay, so here's my only question.
If not, maybe a combination of the two.
You're a firm believer in evolution, right?
Yes.
Okay, so from what we have written and documented in history, goes back to 8,000 years ago, or right? It's 8,000, 8 to 10,000 years.
I couldn't tell you.
I think what has evolved since we've had testimony and we've had written documents since then? What has evolved in the past 10,000 years?
Oh man, immunities to diseases. People have slowly, gradually gotten
Okay, so
over time.
why are monkeys immune to mosquito bites, and we're not? If we evolved from monkeys,
It's just genetics. Well, we didn't see this. This is the thing. I think this is what's misconstrued so much, is that we didn't evolve from the monkeys that are here on Earth now. We evolved from hominids that used to exist, that no longer exist, and we're their ancestors. That we see them as far as on the fossil record, like those hominids that are our ancestors according to evolution don't exist anymore.
well, no. Here's the kicker, man. There's actually scientists that say that monkeys are starting to evolve again.
I've actually heard this.
Yeah.
I've heard this.
Which I just this poppycock, man.
But everything is forced to evolve over time.
But
Evolution
they
is very easy to
they
prove.
say it takes it's not easy to prove because it takes millions of years. So there's no way to actually prove it unless we do not die as a civilization and we survive for the next million years, and then humans evolve from monkeys again. That's the only way to prove it.
That's true. Okay, this comes back to like the missing link. Like, where did all of a sudden our evolution spark to where we went from
Do you know what I mean? And even then, like
just like standing up and stuff like that,
and wherever they're at, I mean, the environment, right? If you're in ancient Iraq, if that's truly where it happened, and at that point, it looked like the Amazon forest. Even then, you're dealing with fucking lions. Who knows how big they are? You're dealing with jaguars. You're dealing with fucking bears, mosquitoes, fucking bugs the size you couldn't even imagine. And you're telling me we survived that shit?
There are people who live in the Amazon like that.
Not deep in the forest, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
Well, I mean,
There's untouched. They're untouched, like people that don't know anything about technology.
and how big do they get? How big do they get?
How big do they get? They're
Does-
like our size.
No, I'm saying how big does like the city get? I mean, like 40, 50, maybe a couple hundred people max.
Oh, not even that. They're
Yeah.
small tribes, man.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't even say close to 100 people. Probably more like 50 people in those tribes.
I'm just saying back
tribes in
then
Amazon.
back then it would be way more intense because humans at that point weren't as evolved as we were now. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
and even then, like I feel like with evolution, like the population of fucking tigers, lions, bears, jaguars, snakes, rhinos, fucking everything. There was no endangered species at that point.
Look at the traditional human baby, and this is almost like kind of siding with you right now. Look at how non-self-reliable a human baby is, up until like the age of like maybe like 10 to where it can actually like start fending for itself on like basic levels.
Yeah.
That is so not how like shit normally works out in nature. Like most animals come out fucking ready to fucking go
Yes.
and just survive on their own. Like that's because that's how shit had to work. Otherwise you're dead. Like, so even looking at like a human baby, like at what point like you would see that being a hinder to the
Oh
evolutionary
yeah,
process.
Phoenix would be on my back right now, bro.
Yeah.
There's no
no.
discussion.
Yeah, no, exactly.
There's no
That's-
playpen. There's nothing. Like you
So-
are on my back the whole
yeah.
time, the whole day. You have, there's nothing.
Yeah. So coming from that standpoint, there had to have been something that sparked something. Something had to have come in. It wasn't just natural evolution. I'm saying natural evolution happens all the time. There's, it's pretty hard to, disprove the fact that evolution doesn't happen on a constant basis. But exactly where we came from, we have no idea. Just because there was something added into the mix at some point that it wasn't just natural. And I agree with you. It was not just natural evolution that got us here. We probably do have ancient ancestors that, could have been, hominids, but some other thing influenced a massive spark that just sped up the process or was directly influenced, or some shit had to have happened. Like that's why I like the stoned ape theory, and I like the
What's the stoned ape theory, man?
basically the stoned ape theory is that you had our ancient ancestors who were not like, they were just able to use like basic like stick kind of tools and stuff, and just had like super basic language, like how monkeys would fucking talk to each other. But they came across psilocybin mushrooms that occurred naturally.
I know what you're saying, yeah.
And then during these highly intense psychedelic trips, created new synapse connections in their brain. All of a sudden now artistic stuff happens and speeds up the evolutionary process.
As beautiful as that sounds, though, it's just like you and I have taken psilocybins and nothing has sparked my mind. The only thing that it sparked was like in the moment, like, holy fuck, like I'm really getting rid of my ego. there's not. I mean, I guess you're not looking for it.
But think about this, like, because our minds are already developed. Think about an undeveloped mind that then experiences something so intense, sees geometric patterns for the first time. All of a sudden, math is immediately involved.
How is math involved at that point?
Because you see those geometric patterns whenever you're tripping. Things will, the way that they cluster together, all of a sudden that's a visual of math and structure, geometric patterns like that. Like whenever you see like octagons and then, like the spiral, like that's literally
You
like
see a
get the
flower with 4
Fibonacci.
petals. I mean,
It's like the Fibonacci sequence, but it's a different experience because different synapses, and then all of a sudden that creature is like, what the fuck's happening right now? And they have to try to like contemplate what the fuck is happening, and it sparked this whole new form of fucking thought. I'm not saying
that's true. I mean, it's a possibility because I mean, even then the mushrooms are probably way more potent than what they are now.
You never know. And then what if all of a
I
sudden
mean,
now
cow patties? Think rhinoceros patties, if those even exist.
Yeah.
Imagine the trip on that.
yeah, what if they're just taking massive amounts of these all the time? And then next thing you know, what if they're seeking these out? All of a sudden these animals realize that it's giving them some like new ability.
It's still poison though.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's some trial and error to figure out which ones are the ones you can get away with eating a shit ton of and not fucking dying.
Sure.
But I mean, that's more fucking plausible to say that there's a God that created like the multiverse and then out of the entire universe just created one fucking people and then, is just worried about us basically and what we're doing. And, as far as religion goes, I think it's way more plausible to have a stoned ape theory belief or an ancient alien theory belief than a traditional religion.
Yeah, I mean,
But-
that's true.
Yeah.
There's still, I mean, in my opinion, there's still a God that would have created that just for that to happen, so he doesn't have to worry about every single person on that planet. But
Yeah,
yeah. So there was there was one new thing we did on our podcast last time, and that was just rapid fire, which was pretty cool. I think this time, and even when I thought about it last time when we did it, I was like, fuck, I should have way more better questions to ask Jesse that I would, because I mean, I don't get to ask you just these questions to get a yes or a no in our everyday life. So it was really cool.
That was fun.
Yeah, I didn't do it again, but we're going to do it again today. But, fuck, I already forgot where I was going with this. Oh yeah,
You're
sorry.
gonna ask like the 10 questions?
No, not yet. That's towards the end. But
Okay.
so when it comes to our podcast, the most viewed podcast we have, which is like 30 views, was our sex robots, man.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
The sex robot one, that was great, dude.
Yeah, it was great. It was awesome. So that's why I was trying to incorporate that second question. I know it didn't really make sense, but I guess it's more or less just more speculation again, like what sex was compared like, or what sex is compared like from, let's even go early 1900s to now, like how much it's changed.
The technology has changed. That's about it.
So you're telling me back
shit
in like,
you can put your dick in has
So
changed.
so you're telling me in like the early 1900s, like let's even go late or early 1800s, like they didn't have like pieces of wood they used for dildos?
Dude, they found like the first dildo like ever that like predated fucking Jesus by like 1500 years.
Really?
Yeah.
I gotta look this
They
up.
found ancient dildos. We've been doing, dude, it literally consumes our thought fucking 24/7 as far as human beings go, is sex. So there's really, well, besides the whole like you get into like some really weird shit, but as far as like the actual like acts, dude, we've been fucking putting our dicks in fucking anything we possibly can that's not gonna fucking tear it off. Like, we've been doing it since the beginning of time. In all honesty,
So this is this is from the Daily Mail, but it says the sex toys dating back 28,000 years.
yeah, dude.
Ancient something made from stone.
Phallus?
Yeah.
Phalluses.
Made from stone and dried camel dung.
That means dick.
What? Camel dung?
No, phalluses.
Oh, okay. Well, they made camel shit, turned it into sex toys, man.
See, that's some freaky ass shit, man.
That is really.
I'm telling
freaky.
you. So in my opinion, it really hasn't changed that much.
Look at that, man. That's some dung and some fucking rock or something.
That's fucking thick too, man.
A 7.8 inch by 1 inch
Jesus.
wide stone object was found in the Holfales caves near Olm in Swabian, Jura. This prehistoric tool was made from 14 fragments of siltstone and dates back 28,000 years. Due to size, experts believe it may be the earliest example of a sex aid ever found.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, so that goes way farther back. I was completely wrong about.
There's a spider right next to my fucking face right now.
Oh, I see him.
Yeah. Fuck this guy.
No, he's just chilling. He ain't hurt nobody. He heard the sex talk and he was like, "Fuck." He was trying to hop on the mic.
I know.
He knows all about that shit.
So I mean, I guess nothing's really ever changed, man. Humans are the same when it comes to sexual desires.
Dude, we love to fuck a lot, and we love to find reasons to hate other people and kill the fuck out of them.
Yes.
This is like one thing, like the two things. I don't know if that was 2 or 3 things I just said. The 2 or 3 things I just said is fairly consistent throughout the entire humankind. Like you pick out like randomly in history, like 1 year, there was gonna be some people fucking, and there was gonna be some people killing each other. Like, you know,
It's always been there.
yeah, no, it's always been there. It's sad, and well, not the whole fucking thing, but the whole killing people thing is depressing. But yeah, man.
Well, if there was never war, there was never anything like that, imagine what the population would be like right now.
It'd be a lot.
It would be
a lot.
massive, yeah. But I mean, who really knows what the true like population is that could max out this earth? I don't think anyone really has an answer for that. They can predict all they want, but
Yeah, I don't know. I do think that, and I've even said this as an idea because I think lowering the population would obviously help things. Like if there's less people, you know, because there's this has been the most people that have ever been. But
no,
I'm
we
not,
don't
okay.
know that. We don't know that. For as technological advanced as like Egypt
Isn't it
was,
like 7 billion people or some shit?
yeah.
But it takes a high amount of technology and knowledge in medicine and stuff like that to keep a population alive. Because normal people that would just have like genetic disorders or like even like peanut allergies and fucking shit like that, like those people would normally fucking die off. But we have the fucking medicine to keep them around.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they're inferior by any way. If somebody listening with a peanut allergy, I'm not there to offend you. I'm just saying that this is what's allowed the population to get so big is we're able to keep people that would normally have, you know, an influence from the environment that would fucking kill them off. We're able to keep them alive.
There's
because of
nothing to
medicine.
say that disease was the same disease we have now as was the same as back in the ancient times, though.
But it had to, all that shit had to have changed over time.
Well, no, I'm saying maybe it didn't exist at that time. I mean, they weren't injecting. I mean, they didn't have oil for what we know, which oil creates plastic and blah 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 and all these long list of things, which BPA and all this other stuff that shows to prove that it causes cancer. They were more natural, you know. Back in the day, they used clay to write on. Man, they didn't use paper.
But okay, so think.
So what I'm saying is maybe disease wasn't as big then.
Look at the childbirth survival rate from like even 500 years ago.
There's no way to
prove.
prove. There's no way to prove that though, man.
Dude, I guarantee you that's written down.
There's
Motherfuckers' wives dying in
500
fucking
years ago?
childbirth all the time.
That every single person that ever lived 500 years ago, you think they had a census report?
No,
there's no way, man.
I'm sure that you could paint a blurry picture of the fact that more people survive childbirth than they did.
And
that
they're
long ago.
already trying to construe how old the Sphinx is. You're going to tell me 500 years ago they're not going to construe what the population was.
I don't know
man.
what they're.
Fuck
I
that.
don't know what they're planning on misconstruing or
I
even
think
their
purposes.
purposes.
I think this Earth's had populations this size before.
I'm not saying that's not a possibility, but I understand logically why we would have a higher population now than we would 2,000 years ago, strictly because of advancement in technology and medicine.
Well, for sure. Well, I think what wiped out the earlier population was the Great Flood, because no matter what culture you go to or anywhere else you go to, the Great Flood is always depicted. Do you think people were banging out on Moses's, or was it, or
Was Moses?
no, Noah?
No, yeah, it was Noah.
You think
I'm
people
sorry.
were banging out on Noah's ship?
Probably not. It was just him and his 3 kids and his wife.
There
that
had to
went
have
with
been
him.
more people on that ship, man.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. No, I don't fucking remember their names.
If you were on
I'm
that
trying to
ship,
remember.
man, and you were the last, and you knew it because God told you, you're like, man, you know, this is the last. You're the last one, man. You got to survive this flood.
I'd be like, can you just have a female on here that I'm not fucking related to, preferably God?
At that point, man, they had. I mean, incest had to have happened at that point.
Technically, according to the Bible, if it just
We're all
started,
related.
yeah, everybody's fucking related. Which I even think they can prove on a like a genetic level that
23andMe or whatever it's called.
It's like everybody's like 14th cousins or some shit, or like at minimum, like you can't, you know, like everybody's at least 14th cousin. Like you find some common ancestor at some point,
Yeah.
you know, which makes sense. But
Not really.
I'm talking about like some immediate shit, like what like Adam and Eve had to do, like their kids had to fuck each other.
Yeah.
Like the brothers and sisters had to fuck each other. like Noah's fucking kids had to fuck, and they're fucking they're
At that
kids.
point, you have to do it, though, right?
It's like, hey, I'm gonna have kids. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure, if I remember the biblical story correctly, his 3 sons all had wives, so they fucked, and then but their kids ended up having to have this whole intermingling of genitalia and
Well, even then,
banging
it's
and
like a
shit.
crapshoot because what's to say you have a boy or a girl? And why is that? What happens if they all have?
You get all
just-
girls,
Yeah.
you get all guys.
Then you're fucked.
Yeah.
Human race is done.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
none of that. There's no way none of that shit is even close to real because that's not how the law of fucking nature works,
Yeah.
man.
No, whenever you get down to that small, then you're fucked. Then you're extinct.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, that's
So
very
luck was on our
implausible.
side. Luck was definitely on our side at that point, or there had to have been a higher being.
Well, I mean, all you really need, I mean, I wonder what it takes because after population bottlenecks, like what is the right amount of mixture in genes you would need to restart the population? Because obviously they've proven that like if I were to like fuck my sister, if anybody's gonna fuck my sister, it's gonna be me.
Garrett will love that.
Yeah. But that there's a high risk of having genetic disorders because your
Right.
genes are so similar.
Exactly.
So I'm sure that if a population were to bottleneck, you do need to have enough variety in the gene pool to spark that shit back up. So
Yeah, it just seems very unplausible. But some luck was on someone. Maybe even back then, who knows? Maybe there wasn't, defects from it happening. I don't
it's a
know.
possibility.
How do you
know.
think Adam and Eve done it? Did they do it?
Yeah,
They did do it.
Yeah.
In the Garden of Eden.
I would have. Well, no, they had to have been kicked out of the Garden of Eden.
Right.
before
So they did
according
do
to
it
the Bible.
though.
Yeah,
And no one knows where the Garden of Eden came from. But
it's in the Middle East.
Middle
somewhere.
East, yeah. But the weather was
Speculate.
different then. There were no houses. They had to have done it outside, somewhere near a lake or something.
Yeah, something. Yeah, man. I don't know. They could have like experimented and just got it all out of the way. Right, the very first two people, like they literally did everything.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Like-
wouldn't you? I mean, like if it's because they were created by God, right?
Mhm.
Out of someone's rib.
Mhm. Do you think God was like right off the bat? He was like, you can't put your dick anywhere else besides vaginal. Because I know the Christian religion's very like against fucking anal and oral and shit. Do you think God was like right off the bat that no head for you, Adam?
Right.
Like-
He's like, she has a mouth, she has an ass. She, like you can't do either of those two holes, just that
Yeah.
hole right there.
Yeah.
No
don't
way.
Don't tell me that guy wasn't thinking about other things too. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we were at a wedding yesterday, and I've never been to a Catholic wedding. I've only recently been to 2 weddings in my whole life. It was very,
It was long, right?
yeah, I mean, an hour, but I was put off by it, man.
Why? What about it?
Just the process. And when the priest or whatever, and he walks down in a fucking cape, man. In a cape.
They're ballers, dude.
A cape. I'm like, dude. I was like, Carrion, can you please have your mom make me a cape like that? Because I will fucking walk in the house. I will act like a straight priest, G-ass motherfucker in this house all the time. I won't wear anything else but that cape, dude.
Fuck yeah, dude. No,
Yeah.
they look fly as fuck, right?
No. I'm like, dude, you look silly as a motherfucker wearing that cape, dude. It's a tassel on the end, and it's like this cream-based cape and just this small pattern on the back. And I'm like, and it's in fucking Overland Park of all places, in this massive cathedral. And then there's this picture of Jesus up top, and then above Jesus' head, of course, what do you have? The all-seeing fucking eye, man. In the Catholic
What?
Church, yes, the all-seeing
The
eye.
Eye of Sauron?
Yeah,
Sauron?
whatever, dude. It was above Jesus' head.
Middle Earth Church?
Yes, I'm like, dude, fuck this, man. These rich motherfuckers spend so much money on these big-ass fucking churches, they don't care about no one, dude. And that's another thing I want
They
to talk
put
about
like
on this
some.
podcast.
They put like some like cult shit. You literally think it's like some Illuminati shit up above Jesus'
Oh,
head?
I mean, the all-seeing eye is above his head.
Like
legitimately.
in the pyramid. So the pyramid eye.
Yes, the pyramid eye above Jesus in this Catholic church. I'm not even fucking kidding you.
What the fuck, dude?
I saw that. I pointed it out to Carrie-Ann.
There's nothing biblical, by the way, about
The all-seeing
about
eye.
that. Yeah.
I know.
Not a single thing.
I know. It's showing up, man, everywhere, dude.
That's
But even
crazy.
then,
I wonder how a priest would explain that. Like you should be able to be like, hey, can you explain, what portion of the Bible does the Illuminati come in?
The Bell Illuminati.
Yeah.
Give me that dollar taco, bitch.
Oh, they put it out in the open so nobody questions it anymore. They just laugh at it. Taco Bell is in on it all.
Yeah. But that was like, yeah, man. When I was sitting there and I was like, fuck, I have so many questions I want to ask Jesse right now because I'm in a church finally. I'm experiencing this, and I'm just like, fuck, dude. Like, how many priests in the United States fucking molest young boys, man? Like, it's just disgusting.
Oh, dude, that's bad. There was a movie that I wanted to see that was about that, but it was really bad. And initially, what it stemmed from my understanding, is they were taking homosexual priests, and they were, I'm sorry, not homosexual priests. They were taking homosexual people or people with perverted tendencies like that, and they were like, oh, wow, you're perverted. We need to put you as deep into the church as humanly possible to fix you. But what it ended up doing is you just put in all these, which there's nothing wrong with homosexuals, but you also end up, they put in, pedophiles. They put in pedophiles like deep within the church. Now you're just giving pedophiles power and a whole bunch of fucking choir boys. And it's literally just like spread throughout the fucking centuries. Smart.
And it's still happening now, man.
Oh, of course. I'm sure it's gotten a lot better because they've been blasted on the fucking news.
Oh, yeah.
For like, would that start like 5 years ago?
Yeah.
It's been going on for a while now.
But I bet
uncovering all this.
It probably hasn't changed at all. They're just getting better at it or being more discreet about it.
Oh, I hope.
These guys are sick, man. They really are. I'm not saying all of them. I'm sure there's some good priests out there, a lot of good priests, but...
Did you see that fucking documentary about the British celebrity who was housing or like supplying all these children to British Parliament? People in like guys in British Parliament and shit. Yeah. That was fucked, dude. That literally like gave me goosebumps.
I'm surprised shit like that gets out, man. I don't know how shit like that gets out, but I'm glad it does because that is fucked, man.
This is what really fucking bothered me. I was like, if that happened in Britain, and I think it was in the 1980s, like 1980s, early 1990s, whatever the fuck it was, and it happened for like fucking years. It went on and underneath everybody's fucking nose. I'm like, if it happened that high up in fucking Parliament, how the fuck is not something like that fucking happening in Congress too? Because that's just, like I said, you put in people in fucking power, all of a sudden people get this fucking weird lust for fucking endless power and shit. Next thing you know, they're fucking kids and shit. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if shit like that's happening in fucking Congress too. I mean, I fucking hope not. But I also know how fucking society works, and it fucking, normally if it's happening somewhere, it's also happening, other places too.
Oh yeah. If you have endless amounts of money, the things you would do differently, I mean... I'm not saying if I had money I would do shit like that, but
money can be even the Bible fucking says it can be the root of all evil. It's not saying that it's evil, but it allows you to fucking, have access to fucking do evil fucking things.
Right.
Which is what those fucking people do. Sometimes. I'm not saying every rich person's evil, obviously, but it gives them opportunity to fucking do evil things.
That's very true.
I guess at the same time it also gives them opportunity to do really good things as well too on the spectrum.
Oh yeah.
So you can't lump.
I mean, but people like Bill Gates, he ain't doing. I mean, he's allegedly going over to third world countries and building water and all this stuff. I'd like to see it, and vaccines and shots, and I hope he's doing that.
I think Elon Musk does a whole lot too. Did you hear about? Oh man, I feel like a dumbass. 99 for the Texans.
Oh, J.J. Watt.
J.J. Watt. I feel like a dumbass. That dude is so awesome. He paid for the most recent school shooting. Paid for all those kids' funeral. Took care of everything the way the families didn't have to worry about it at all. Paid for every last one of those kids' funerals and all.
Which was weird, man. He used a shotgun, and I don't know. He was 17 years old. Did they ever say how he got to the gun?
Dude, I don't even know. I don't know any details from this past school shooting. Dude, I quit fucking looking at it. They're happening too frequently.
Well, I mean,
and it's depressing.
Here's the thing that fucking got me, man. And I'm not gonna go into it at all because you and I've had some conversations about this, and you know how I feel about it. But Carrie, she's like, yeah, there's a school shooting. So I was like, fuck it, let's turn on CNN. I was like, I want to see how they fuck this up because they always do. Mm-hmm. And it was the blonde chick. If you saw her, you'd know her. But she's just like, instantly, dude, gun control, instantly, before knowing any details. Like, she even brought it up before she knew how old the shooter was or what he was or anything about him. She's like, yeah, this is just going to bring up a lot of debate from the Parkland and all this about gun control. Didn't know what type of gun was used. Didn't know who it was or anything. She brought that up before any of that information.
Of course, man. Yeah. Because that's their position.
Oh, yeah.
They look for shit like that, yeah. And
that's not news though. That's not news, and they're getting.
It's biased news.
Oh yeah, it's not even news at that point.
Yeah, no, it's so corrupted. That's why I don't fucking watch. I don't watch news, man.
Yeah. So then, of course, whenever she finds out when he's 17 years old, she's just speculatively saying that he still bought the gun somehow. She's like, oh yeah, but you live in Texas, some of the freest gun laws in the states. And I don't know how she said it, but she was trying to direct the point that he still may have been able to purchase the gun at 17 in Texas because their gun laws are so unrestricted. I'm like, how are you even going to say that when you're broadcasting to millions of people and you were fucking speculating like that?
That's their job, is to manipulate, man.
Dude,
it is.
I know.
That's all it is. They do have a little bit of truth, because they can't completely fucking distort it, but they take a little bit of fucking truth and then they just fucking layer it with
dude.
their fucking bias.
It's like pizza dough. They just
shit.
keep stretching it fucking out,
Dude,
man.
Yeah. So, and that's what they do. They feed you the little bit of truth. Like, here's a little teaspoon of truth, and then here's our fucking gallon of fucking biased fucking manipulation on this is how the world actually is, and this is how you should live your life. This is how you should vote. This is where your money needs to go. Fucking everything. That's the job of the news stations. Which is why I don't like any of them.
Yeah. Fuck it, dude.
Fuck them all, dude. Yeah.
So I want to appreciate you letting me just take on this podcast tonight, man. It feels good, but I still like when you come out with some points, and you didn't tonight.
Yeah, I don't know what was my deal. I just worked, and then I went home and napped, and then played Fortnite. I really haven't had very time to like sit down and like think, what I wanted.
I'm gonna get on
discuss
Fortnite
tonight.
when you leave, by the way. So if you get on, I'll be playing a little bit. But
I'll probably hop on for a minute.
yeah.
Yeah.
So my last thing, and I know that I texted you, it's about oil. And oil is obviously our go-to right now, and it still is and has been for years, man.
Just stupid.
Yeah, but I mean, it's getting up there. It's like $2.77 a gallon here in Missouri, and they're saying it's going to keep rising, man. And I guess the reason for this, or what they're trying to say, is that because Trump pulled out of the Iran nuclear deal, and that's why gas prices are getting so high. A few questions for you. Do you believe that gas prices, they're not truly based on price per barrel, for petroleum? Because they're, in my opinion, which, never mind, I'm not going to say that. Two questions. Do you think that there is unlimited oil, or not necessarily unlimited oil, but enough oil to keep it at, reasonable price, $2 per gallon for everyone for, the next 200 or 300 years?
Yeah.
And my second question would be, how far away are we from getting away from oil?
Okay, so to answer the first question, I don't know what it's going to look like in 200 or 300 years with like inflation and stuff like that. I do know that it's a limited resource. I don't think that they can fabricate oil, and I do know that if they're pulling it.
What is oil? Sorry to cut you off.
From my limited understanding, oil is
Fossil
dinosaurs, basically. Yeah, fossils that have been underground for so long that have eventually just broken down and became that, from my understanding. But so if that's the case, it's going to be limited, and obviously, the more that there's less of it, the price is going to go up just because of supply and demand and stuff like that. So you can't keep something cheap like that. And we've really only been using it. Have we been using like that much oil for even 100 years yet?
No.
Like that's the thing. So we've barely, even though I know we consume a shit ton of it, for as far as like the time period of actually using it hasn't been that long.
What happens if I told you, and I know that, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but there have been people who have dug for oil, right? Like these massive companies, and there's a few people who have come out and said it, but I don't know who it is, and I'm sorry, I wish I had my facts on me, but I truly have heard this story where a guy, he would, go somewhere where there was large amounts of oil, and they would drain it dry, right? Mm-hmm. Go back there a few years later, completely full again.
What if it's just draining from a separate spot or just moving around? Or do you think the Earth just naturally creates it?
That's what I think.
I don't know. If you want to talk about a conspiracy, if they wanted to have, if they were able to access an unlimited source of something, and then they could just fluctuate the price however much they want and go to war for it because they say that it's a limited resource. I think that's a bit of an extreme conspiracy theory, but I can see that. But okay, so I'm going to go to your second question real quick, because I think this is what it really comes down to, whether or not that's a fucking thing. Is we should have fucking been away from oil like 30 fucking years ago, whenever our technology came out. I love Jeremy Rifkin's book, The Third Industrial Industry, when he talks about leaving the second industrial industry, which is what we're still in right now, using oil. He's like, this is an outdated technology. It really is. Gas-powered engines, anything that uses an oil base is outdated. We had better technology fucking 20 years ago, back in the 80s, as far as getting, we
were able to go to the moon
shit.
in the 70s, 60s and 70s, but
yeah, but we don't have to use this fuel source anymore. It's strictly because people are set in power and have been making money off of it for so long that they're able to pay people off and
and I
fill
would
off certain
be
industries.
interested to see the statistics, but like how many cars are on the fucking streets now that get 30 to 40 miles per gallon, you know? Back then that was never the case. So I'm just curious, there's no way. I mean, granted the population is increasing, but I think to the amount of cars that have better gas mileage, I feel like it should outweigh it, you know?
You're talking about the consumption of gas?
Yeah,
Like overall?
to where we should see, less consumption of gas.
No, because because more people have cars.
I mean, not necessarily,
They're
because when you have a population increase, it's mainly in the larger cities, you know?
That's true.
So, I mean, there's less people driving in New York, LA, all that shit, man.
Shit, I don't exactly know about that. I think
I would have to look in and see how many more cars are bought per year, you know?
But you're right, the gas mileage is getting better. But I mean, but it's an outdated thing. Like, and I know like gas, and I gotta be honest, like I think gas powered engines are fucking cool. Like I like the way that they sound. Like, when it comes to like fast cars and shit like that, like having an electric car, it's kind of boring not having, as a guy, I just like to hear the sound of a gas motor starting up.
Which is why you bought your car and it's so loud.
Hey, I got that exhaust fixed. It's a lot quieter now.
That's good.
Because it wouldn't pass inspection.
How much did that cost you?
It was like $120.
It's not bad.
He had to refit a piece and like weld it a little bit. It only took him like 45 minutes, but yeah, it was chill. But as far as the gas thing, I mean that's
There'll be oil till the day we die, man.
Yeah, no, just that's my. I know this is conspiracy, but there are people who don't give a fuck about making the world a better place or more efficient place or a healthier environment. They're worried about the digital number that's in their fucking bank account. So they keep things the way that they are. Oil is fucking way outdated. We could have been done with oil in the in the mid 70s, early 80s. Could have been done with it.
All right, man. You ready for rapid fire or what?
Yeah, let's fucking do it, man.
Yeah,
let's do that. I need to stay closer to this microphone, man.
I know. I
think
telling
either
you.
that or I need to turn it up because I'm.
It's you. You gotta get closer to it, man. Make love to the microphone.
You're like right there. I need to. Yeah, this is perfect.
Yeah.
Just keep a baby dick's distance away from it.
Not the dude in 40-year-old virgin. What's his name? The black dude. And he's looking at the baby picture. He's like, "That's my baby. Look at his dick."
The dude was hilarious in that movie.
He was hella funny. That wouldn't be a baby dicks away from the microphone. You'd be way over.
Yeah. Little white baby. Little white baby dick.
You want to start it off, or you want me to start it off? If anyone doesn't know, it's going to be 10 rapid questions. We answer yes or no. That's it.
And it could be like in any question basically. But does it have to be yes or no? I can't remember.
I think so.
Is that the rules stipulations?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes or no.
Yes or no. I'll start it off.
All right.
I'll hit you. Pizza or tacos? Oh wait, that's not yes or no.
Ooh. No,
Okay, well,
I like that. You can.
I can do shit like that too.
Yeah, for
okay.
sure.
So like and or kind of things.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
no. Give you an option. So you basically just
Yeah.
any kind of question that you have to answer fast.
Right.
Okay. Pizza or tacos?
Pizza.
Okay. Blonde or brunette? Ooh shit.
Oh fuck.
My bad, man. My bad.
Blonde.
Blonde. Okay. Let's see. Do you think that millennials are destroying the United States of America?
Yes.
God damn. Okay. Do you think that rap is gonna get better?
No.
Or is it gonna stay shitty?
Stay shitty for
Stay
sure.
shitty. Yeah, I think so too. Let's see. Electric or gas engine?
I'm gonna go gas.
Gas engine?
Yeah.
It's for the aesthetics, right? Just for the feel of it. Let's say, do you think that the Redskins with Alex Smith is gonna have a winning season this year?
Yes.
Okay. I know it's sports related. I know we're supposed to.
That's
avoid
fine.
that.
No, I'm cool with it.
Do you think that Elvis Presley's really dead?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think that Kanye West, deep down, is actually a very kind soul, and he just puts on all the bullshit just to bullshit? Do you think Kanye West is a good person? Is what I'm saying. Yes or no? I'll just leave it at that.
No comment.
Okay, fair enough. Oh wow, I'm gonna be careful. We don't want to piss off Kanye. He's probably watching. He's listening right now. I know he doesn't have much going on.
Was that 10 questions?
That was close to 10 questions. I will just call it 10. I don't know. I lost count.
You ready?
It's probably like 8 or 9.
Are
Yeah.
you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right. All right. So, 10 very rapidly fast questions. Okay, here we go. Are you okay with the mic that you've been using for the past 4 months?
Yes, I like this mic.
Okay. Do you think that later on in life we will make it a decent amount of money doing podcasts?
Oh man, I don't know. No comment on that one. We'll see how it goes. Baby steps.
Yeah, very true, very true. Do you believe Joe Rogan is a sellout?
Yes.
Okay. If
You
had
got to
a-
be at his level. There's no way you're not.
If you had a baby, it's a boy. Is it a boy?
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Nobody's gonna understand that. Why we laughed at that.
Spaghettis with meatball or spaghettis with meat?
Spaghetti's a meatball.
Spaghettis with meatball. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. If you had to choose between a Chiefs playoff game or a Royals playoff game, which would you choose?
Chiefs playoff game.
Chiefs playoff game. Okay. Fuck. I could have better questions than this. Would you be interested in having a conversation with Eric Dubé, the lead researcher in Flat Earth? If you could talk to him and have a conversation with him, would you be interested in talking to him?
Sure, of course. I think even he's a highly intelligent individual. I think that it would be a difficult conversation to keep him interested, because I'm sure everything that I would have had to have said, he's probably already heard a million times. I have a feeling he would get bored with the conversation, is what I'm saying. But no, I would be okay with that for sure.
Okay.
Let's get it on, man.
Does it concern you that we've never had a rocket leave or a live feed from Earth into space without it breaking up, or you know what I'm saying? We've never had a live feed rocket leave Earth into space. Does that concern you? With today's technology,
if that's actually the case, then
it is the case.
I don't want to go into like reasoning. I'm gonna say no, because there'd be some like scientific reasoning behind why the camera is fucking up.
Okay. Do you believe in subliminal messages?
No.
Do you believe in subliminal messages within our commercials and our TV shows?
Not to. Not. I mean, I'm gonna say no on that one. I'm not saying that there can't be like little things that they try to throw in there to like catch your attention, but it's nothing that's actually changing your own fucking thought process or anything like that. Like, I understand like the conspiracy theory behind subliminal messages, like quick fucking flashes and shit.
Or like The Simpsons predicting shit and stuff like that.
Yeah, that shit is weird though.
Yeah.
I'll say that. I don't think that's not subliminal messaging, but that is weird shit.
Okay.
It's a possibility that The Simpsons have just fucking done everything, and that it just looks like they predict shit, but really they've talked about everything and fucking said everything that there's anything to say. So.
All right.
So yeah.
Well, that hits podcast 7, man. Very nice.
Yeah, I think next time I'm gonna prep the 10 questions that would get them really like some really fucking good ones. You know.
Right. I'm down. I'm ready, man.
We'll prep the questions next time. That'll be a lot more fun. Ooh. You think people are gonna be able to hear that? I doubt it.
Well, thank you guys. Please subscribe, listen, comment below. Let us know what you want to hear about, talk about. We will do it, because that's what we do as talk junkies, man.
Yeah, we don't care what if you could say the stupidest shit that you want us to talk about. We'll fucking talk about it for like 2.5 hours. You can talk about how you think pixie dust fucking falls on the Antarctic penguins fucking early in the morning. I'll figure something out with it, man. Just we'll
for
do
sure,
it.
for sure, man. Hey, we're not talk junkies for a reason. We will get video. Hey, here's a few things coming your way. We're working on getting video up. I mean, I have 2 cameras. I have a DSLR and I have a digital. I'm working on getting both of those up to where we can have you guys be able to see what Jesse and I look like. And then we're also working on Skyping people to get them in, having experts on certain situations that we talk about.
Yeah, cool beans. I'm all about it.
Cool.
All those things.
Cool beans, man.
Cool beans.
Cool beans, man.
I'm all about the cool beans.
Yeah, he
all
fucking
day.
loves cool beans, man. He says cool beans one more time. I'm going to fucking make him a shirt at Mowers tomorrow that says fucking cool beans on it.
Yeah, I'd wear the fuck out of that shirt. I'd probably quit saying it if I wore the shirt, actually.
Now, if I make a shirt and put it in the description or the comments below, should I put a bean on the shirt or should it just say cool beans? let me know.
Yeah. Get a vote going. Yeah.
Yeah, get a vote going. Thumbs up is yes, put a bean on the shirt. Thumbs down is no, don't put a bean on it.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Oh, am I supposed to say some shit too? All right.
Peace.
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Thanks for listening. I thought you were going to do the thing. That's a weak ending, bro. Come on.